Perfect. So why don't we get started, because we have lots of stuff to cover between Lee Ann and myself, and so we want to make sure that we can keep it as on time as we can. So welcome everybody to our Baby Sign Language and Activities to Promote Motor Milestones webinar. We are so excited to share this stuff with you. Before we get started, because there's some more people who've logged in recently, if you can please open your chat box and set it to all panelists and attendees, that would be great, so we can all see your comments. And then also there's a Q&A box through Zoom, so if you have any questions, if you can try and type them into the Q&A box, it'll be easier to keep track of. And then just so you know that we are recording this session, so if you need to look back at it later, you can always access that link at another time. So let's start with introducing ourselves. My name is Maegan Mak, and I am a physiotherapist and also the owner of PlayWorks Physio. I've been a physiotherapist for the past 6 years. I graduated from UBC and I've been working in pediatrics ever since, both in private clinics and then also some in the community, so like child development centers. And then when I'm not working, I'm chasing around my busy 13-month-old son. And throughout this presentation, I will be sharing some activities that I found helpful with him and his physical development.
And hi, I'm Lee Ann. I'm the owner of Signing Babies. I've been teaching baby sign language classes in the community and virtually for over 15 years now. My background was in teaching. I did education at university, and I went into teaching littles outside of school with preschool classes. And once I became a mom, I started teaching my 2 kids, who are big kids now, sign language for a variety of reasons, and just have still felt so passionate about sharing it with families now as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee Ann. Okay, so just a quick overview of what we're going to be chatting about today. I'm going to be going through activities that you can try at home with your baby to help achieve different motor milestones, and then also try to link in how these activities lead to future skills that your baby will eventually learn. And then if you have any questions about activities for your baby or things that you are wondering about, then you can also feel free to type that into the Q&A box, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can at the end of both of our presentations. And then Lee Ann will be going through some of the common signs that she finds most helpful with parents, and then going through some of her songs that she also uses in her classes, which are so fun. I took a class with my son when he was, I think, 4 months old with Lee Ann, and it was amazing. So excited for you guys to learn some as well. Okay, before we get into this, I just want to get an idea of how old your babies are. So if you can quickly type into or answer the question in the chat, then we can kind of see what our breakdown is. Pretty even mix, I would say, between mostly like 0 to 9 months, it looks like. Okay, perfect. I'll share those with you guys so you can see. 4 to 6 months had slightly more. Okay, perfect. And then, so often I get asked, what is a pediatric physio and how is it different than a physio that works with adults, and probably who we're familiar with seeing. And so a pediatric physio is someone obviously who works with children, anyone from 0 to 18. Physios in general are movement specialists, and peds physios are movement specialists for kids. we've had our hands on a lot of little bodies, which are quite different than adult bodies. And pediatric physios know what typical development looks like, and also familiar with the different types of conditions and pain that kids can experience. And so the next common question that I often get asked is, what do you do with a baby in physio? And so these are a couple of the things that I see babies for. And so one is torticollis, and some of you may have had experience with this, and it's when your baby just prefers to look in one direction more than the other. And this can be from a tightening of neck muscles. We also have parents who are concerned with baby's head shape. So they may notice that there are flat spots on the head. And then a lot of families come in for motor milestone check-ins. And this is where they can get ideas of things that they can implement at home to help their baby reach their next skill. And then also just see where they're at for their age and make sure that everything's going on track. We find that first-time parents who are wanting to learn different ways to have purposeful play with their baby like to come in and just learn information from like more of a pediatric expert in a sense. And then families who have extended benefits through work that cover physiotherapy like to come in every so often just for these check-ins to get new ideas and see how baby's doing, and just learn how they can challenge them differently through play at home. And so our clinic, PlayWorks Physio, is in Port Moody, BC. We've been there for just over 2 years now, but since we've launched virtual services when COVID started, so we actually can now see people across Canada. So that is super awesome for any of you guys tuning in from outside of BC. And then it's kind of works similar to FaceTime, where we can do a whole appointment virtually. So it's really neat. Okay. So what I've kind of done for my portion of the talk is I've broken it down into age ranges, and then I'm just going to go through a couple different activity ideas and variations for each of the age groups. And like I said earlier, feel free to type in the Q&A box if you have any questions, and we'll get to them at the end. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that Lee Ann and I will be each doing a giveaway at the end of this presentation. So anyone who is participating in the chat or the Q&A box, we're keeping track of all of your names, and we will enter you in to win a prize at the end. Okay, so 0 to 3 months, I saw in the age poll that there were quite a few in this range, so that's awesome. So the first one is tummy time. I'm sure you've all heard about tummy time, and everyone says do lots of tummy time. And we also hear often that my baby hates tummy time. And so I guess a few thoughts on tummy time from our perspective is that tummy time is something that you start gradually and then slowly increase the amount of time that baby can tolerate it for. And then tummy time also doesn't mean just being put on a cold, hard floor and leaving baby there to try and get stronger. It can be in different angles, in different on different surfaces, and that can help make it more enjoyable and tolerable for baby. So like in this picture here, you can see that baby has a pillow that I think this one is one that comes with the playmat. So a lot of playmats have kind of this little baby body pillow. And so that's propped under her chest to help bring her up a little bit. And so the more angle that baby's at, like propped up from under the chest, the easier it is for them. So this is something you can try, is you can roll up receiving blankets, or you can use pillows just at different heights to change up the position for baby and make it a little bit more tolerable for them. One thing I like to suggest to families is that if baby is for example, like if they're in this position, like in the picture, and they start to fuss and you can tell they're getting tired from being on their tummy, you can actually, instead of just fully getting them out of tummy time, is you can put in a thicker pillow just to bring them up a little bit more. So they're still actually on their tummy, but it's just changed it enough where maybe they'll tolerate it for a little bit longer. So that is some stuff for tummy time. Another, I guess, milestone in the 0 to 3 month age range is for baby to be able to hold their head in midline. So midline means if they're lying on their back, being able to look straight up towards the ceiling. And this is actually, it takes neck strength to be able to do this. So what you'll notice like earlier on is that babies will either have their head turned to the right or the left, and it's actually hard for them to keep it straight up. And so if you have a play structure or have toys where you can hang them from above baby to encourage them to look directly up, then this is something fun. Also, babies love looking at faces. So if mom or dad wants to be over top of baby and be that entertainment for a bit, then that's also helping just keep their focus looking straight up and also helping their head control be able to keep their head in the middle. Playing and sidelying is another awesome one, especially for the little babes, because it allows them to be in another position other than on their back or their tummy. And it's usually a little bit more relaxing to be on their side, especially if they're tired of tummy time. So it's a nice break from tummy time. And then it keeps them off the back of their head to help prevent some of those head shape issues. So just really changing positions a lot when babies are in this kind of the 0 to 3 month range and they're still trying to gain that head control and strength is really important just for the head shape. So doing some tummy time, then when they're tired, take a break, have them on their side, and then on their back kind of thing. So sidelying is really nice. You can see here that can kind of see that's his leg, his knees a little bit forward. So that's preventing him from fully rolling over. What you can also do is you can roll up a receiving blanket or tuck a pillow just like along their back to prevent them from rolling back. And then what you also could do is if you're sitting on the floor with them, you can have your leg along their back to help keep them on their side. So a nice thing to try. And then we hit the 4 to 6 month range. And so these are the things that we'll be going through. So hands to feet is an important skill because it leads to rolling, and it's also really good for coordination because baby learns to reach and actually like be able to grab their toes. And then what you'll find is when baby can hold their feet, they kind of rock back and forth, and this eventually will lead to rolling onto their tummy. So activities and playing where you can encourage them reaching for their feet are really great. So in this picture here, you can see there's a teether that he was super interested in that I just put on his around his toes, and so he was reaching for that to grab. The other thing is they have these socks that are kind of like rattle socks. So there's like a sock with a little, it looks like a stuffed animal head, I think, on top of it, and they make noise. And so those are really fun too if you put those on their feet. Then when they kick, they hear the sound, but they also want to grab and try and reach them. So anything like that you can think of where you're encouraging them to bring their feet up. If you're finding that baby is having a hard time reaching for their feet, you can also help like physically bring their feet up towards their hands. And you also can put just a little like folded blanket under their bum to lift their bum up a bit. And then that will help make it a little bit easier for them to reach for their toes. So that's hands to feet. Tripod sitting. So tripod sitting is early sitting. This is what babies will do before they're actually able to fully sit on their own. And so you can see from, especially this picture on the right with this cutie, how her legs are a little bit wider apart and then hands are forwards and on the floor. And so they're actually using their arms to help support themselves because they don't have the core strength yet or the balance to fully sit upright on their own. And so this is like the perfect setup, legs wide and then hands forwards. What you can do at home is you can put pillows around them. So this is what is around Cone here, is there's pillows just all around, because he would tip mostly backwards, but also to the side. So I would put pillows around him so that I could be in front interacting with him. You also could do it like if you're sitting behind him, then and you have toys in front, then that's another option. Toy wise, there are some activity cubes. There's like a mini VTech cube that is a really good size for this age, that they can actually rest their hands on and play with. So if you guys have something like that where they can kind of lean on a bit of a stable toy, then that could be used in this stage as well. And then I just want to make a note that it's really important to not only practice sitting, because we see babies all the time who come in and they just love to sit, but they don't like anything else. And so in order to get to those future milestones, like crawling and standing and stuff, we need baby to be comfortable in rolling and on their tummy and that sort of thing. This one is pivoting. So once babies are more comfortable on their tummies, usually I'd say like around, that like 5-6 month mark, you'll start to see them pivot on their tummies. And this is a great time to start putting toys just out of reach from them to encourage them to move. And so when they're moving, they're really working those arms and those tummy muscles. And it's slow at first. Like you can see this little one here is taking her time, but working super hard to try and get over to whatever she's trying to get to her right. So just putting things out of reach and not always giving baby the toy, and challenging them to move a little bit. On their tummy, you can have them reaching for toys. So here, he was just reaching for those rings, and this is challenging for them because they have to shift their weight over to one side and actually lift one arm up. And so then he's supporting himself with just one arm. And so what you can do is when you're first starting, you can kind of hold the toy lower, so it's easier for them to grab. And then as they get better with it, you can hold the toy higher to get them to reach higher, and that would be more challenging. And just making sure that you're choosing toys that are easy for them to hold when they're in this position. So you can see here, he just has a couple of rings, and so he can easily hold those and have success when he does reach for them. So 7 to 9 months is our next age breakdown. This is a really good one to practice. It's a good one, precursor for the transition of going from sitting onto their tummy. So basically you would have baby sitting in between your legs, just like in this picture, and have them reach over your legs. You can put a toy. He was really into the cake pan that day, so we had that on the side, and then hands going over. And he actually, in this picture, had just flipped over onto his tummy, which is eventually what we do want them to do. But even earlier, if you're not quite there yet, sitting with hands over your leg to get that rotation movement, and just make sure you're practicing going both directions. High kneeling is another great one, and it's also kind of like a motor milestone that we are looking for too. And so the big one with this is just different levels and heights at home for playing with your baby. So you can see here the couch cushion's removed, and he's playing on just like the base of the couch. And so if we have the couch cushion on the floor, that's another way to vary the height in the environment and then encourage kneeling like this. As babies get stronger, then you can see in this picture here, she's able to kneel just at the wall and doesn't need to have her hands like on a surface as much for support. But yeah, just trying to use your environment and vary the heights to help set up whatever skill. So if it's kneeling, you want a bit of a lower surface. Crawling over couch cushions. So once again, using these cushions and making different varying heights. So this one, he's just going up and over the couch cushion. That's like a super fun and easy one. You can even line up like a few cushions in a row. So he's going like up, over. This one, he's climbing up and just make sure you're close in case they do tip over. Okay, so this is a really important one safety-wise. So protective reactions are so important so that baby knows how to fall properly and can protect themselves when they do fall, because they will fall. And so what you can do is this video here, let's see, are they gonna play again? Sorry. So if you have them sitting, you can do this one on the floor or on the bed and just gently tip them to one side, and you want to have them bring their hand out. At the beginning, they may not get their hand out on their own, so you might have to help guide their hand down. And then in this first video here, definitely do it over a softer surface, but have them kind of go forwards and get their hands out in front of them as you go down, but just make sure you're on a soft surface in case they don't. And then, so like I said, these are important for safety, and you can make these fun by singing songs. It could be any song, but just something to keep it more interesting for baby while you're doing them. Okay, the final stretch is the 10 to 12 months. So squats to pick up objects. So once baby's standing, they love to pick things up and like put them in a bucket, or just like drop a toy and then pick it up again. And so what you can do is you can set up their toys, like you can put toys that they want on the floor, and then you can have them reach down to pick them up. And so that also kind of is another way that you're varying the height. So if you have one thing like up on the couch and then something on the floor, then you're kind of adjusting the heights that they're playing at. Cruising, so that is when they move across the furniture. So in this one, he's going across the couch. I'm not sure why it isn't playing. But he's moving to the side. And so one thing you can do to set this up at home is having toys at one side to encourage them to move to, and then also keeping the surfaces lower. So coffee tables, couches, flipped over, laundry baskets, things like that, just to keep it lower and easier for them to be stable. Okay, standing and pushing a toy. So in these ones, whoops, not sure why some of these aren't playing, sorry about that. But you can kind of gather from the picture. So standing and pushing a toy at this age before they're starting to walk, you can have these walker toys here, which are really great. If you don't have one, that's also fine. You can use something like a laundry basket. If baby is still earlier at pushing, then a flipped over laundry basket is a little bit more stable. Or you can put things in the laundry basket to weigh it down and add a bit more resistance, and that makes it easier for baby to push. And the last one, I think, is just allowing baby to explore different textures, because you'll see that they move differently in different environments. And so you can see here, instead of crawling, he's doing this funny bear crawl because he doesn't want to put his knees down. And so that just challenges him differently and gets him to try different movements. This is also on a little bit of an incline. And so that's another thing that you can add in, is like playing on little hills. If you can make something like that at home, or if you're outside on a grassy hill, then changing the slope also is really great, especially for this age range. And that is it for my stuff. So if you have questions, please type them into the chat and I will try to address as many as I can at the end. And I'm going to hand it over to Lee Ann.
Excellent. Hello. I love seeing the footage you have of Cohen doing all those things. That was so great. Really helpful for visualizing what you were describing too and putting props together. Thanks, Megan. So we're going to move into some baby sign language, and I'm going to keep it brief, but we're going to do a little bit of talking about the mindset around using baby sign language. And then I have a handful of signs that I want to teach you, and we'll sing some songs to get those going as well. And again, please put any questions. We're going to make time for that at the end to look at as many questions as we can. And we'll be doing a draw at the end, both for Maegan and for myself. We both have a giveaway. So I'm excited to get to that too. And just putting your comments into the chat will get you into both of those giveaways. Okay, so I want to just express that if you're new to baby sign language, it's not something that's tricky at all. And it shouldn't be something that feels like another thing on your agenda. If it does feel like that, then you might want to wait a little bit and just add some signs in down the road. I know as a mom, there were times where I just felt overwhelmed with only the things I had to do. So don't worry about it. The timing of when you start signing is really more important for you to feel ready to start signing and teach signs to your baby, as opposed to what stage you think your baby is at for learning signs, because you'll be their teacher, and the more calm and confident and the most ease that you'll have showing those signs will make it far easier for your babies to learn as well. So saying that, it's not tricky, as I mentioned. It really is just a matter of following a lot of the principles that we already use when we teach our babies the verbal languages that we use at home with them. And so some of the principles around using verbal language are not anything that we actually think about. We just do instinctively. And we're going to expose them to the language. So we talk, we sing, we coo, we have conversations with our babies, knowing full well that they're not going to be able to talk back to us, but that exposure is what's important for them to take it all in. And we create context around the vocabulary that we're using. We might say, okay, it's time to get dressed. Let's put on your pajamas. Here are your pajamas. Or it's time for our bath. Here's the water. And we naturally talk about what we're doing with our babies. So that starts making sense, especially with the things that we do often, that bath, that getting dressed, having milk, all the things that we do often, and we're talking about them and showing the words that go along with those activities. Our babies get that exposure with the context. So that helps them learn our languages as well. And we repeat, and we say those words lots, so they just start drinking those in when they make sense with the context and that broad exposure. So we're going to apply those same ideas with sign language. So putting a physical, visual language in front of our babies, as well as we want to connect it with what they're going to be hearing from our verbal languages. And whether you're speaking 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 languages to our babies, it's really just important that you speak lots, give them lots of exposure, and the same with adding signs in as well. For families that do have more than one language, verbal language going on, the sign language, the physical and visual that they can see when you're signing, can actually be a really great bridge between the 2 verbal languages that they might be hearing from you or from other adults that are speaking with them. So the signing can become that visual bridge that they start recognizing, whether you're saying milk in English or milk in Spanish or French or whatever, they'll still see that same sign. So it will become a little grounding piece for them. So benefits for signing really include the bonding that can happen, because signing is visual. They need to be looking at you and you need to be looking at them. And in that way, we're going to pay a little bit more attention to our babies than we might need to if we're only speaking our verbal languages. So we need to kind of pay attention and have that eye-to-eye time. We're going to read each other's bodies, read each other's faces, and get a little bit more bonding with every interaction. And so that becomes a nice, deep, rich experience for both parents and babies as well. And putting out early communication, another mechanism for your babies, allows for communication to grow. Before they're able to speak, babies are able to use their hands. And so it actually augments that communication level, both verbally and physically, for your babies, and also can lower frustrations a lot because that communication is going. Once some signs are starting to be understood and you get some rapport back and forth, the frustrations of not being understood, either you presenting something to your baby or your baby trying to tell you what they want, that really gets dialed down because you've already got some conversation pieces going with your signs. And so when we're not frustrated, that increases the bonding altogether as well. And the flow of respectful communication can just be so much richer and greater way earlier than babies can start talking. So the benefits are great. And it's also just, it can be a lot of fun. And that is one of my specialties, is making classes fun, making the learning fun for parents and babies. When I started teaching my own kids, I really applied a lot of the learning I had done as a teacher for little ones and put it into play for my kids, because I know nobody's really all that interested in just chat, 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 talk, talk, talk. It can be easy for our babies to kind of zone out. Just thinking about any great teachers you've had that are really visual and dynamic, it makes it easier to learn. So putting play and songs and rhymes into our signing when we're showing those signs to our babies makes it easier for everyone. So let's get into some of the fun part now of learning signs. What I want to do is just do a little warm-up song. So we're going to do some singing. I guess I'll be singing. Usually in my classes, we get to sing together. We'll hear all the voices. But I'm perfectly happy. I'm hoping that you'll sing along at home though, so you can start remembering these. So we're going to warm up our fingers and our hands because, of course, that's what we're using in signing. And the first song I want to show you is called Dancing Fingers. So we're just going to wiggle our fingers. If you've got your hands free, we're going to start down low and we're going to wiggle them up over our heads and then back down into the middle and all around. So I'll show you. There's a little bit more. You can follow along. Dance your fingers up. Dance your fingers down, dance them in the middle, dance them all around. Dance them on your shoulders, dance them on your head, dance them on your tummy, and tuck them into bed. Nice. Let's try that one again. So you can be doing this in front of your babies or over top if they're lying down. You can do it on their body so you get some of that sensory play going on. You can mix it up anytime you sing the song, whatever works for how you're positioned at home. I'm going to do it in front here again. Let's try it. Dance your fingers up. Dance your fingers down, dance them in the middle, dance them all around, dance them on your shoulders, dance them on your head, dance them on your tummy, and tuck them into bed. Now I'm just tucking behind me. If I had a baby with me, I would do a little tuck, a little hug, could do kisses right on their face. Again, you can mix up the song and make it work any way you like. So we've just warmed up our fingers. Let's do one more time a little bit faster. And that's another great idea around singing and playing with your babies, is just changing tempo can make a lot of difference in increasing that dynamic quality and getting them to pay attention to you. We want them looking at us and following what we're leading, because this is how we're going to show our signs. Okay, so we'll do it one more time and I'll show you an actual sign, because in our song we're just wiggling. We're going to sign more, and we're just connecting all our fingertips to our thumbs, and we're going to tap those hands out front a couple times to show the repetition, or more, more. So when we sign, we're going to say it out loud as we sign it again, so our babies get to hear our language and see our signing together. More, more. And then let's do it again. We'll do more. And dance your fingers up. Dance your fingers down, dance them in the middle, dance them all around. Dance them on your shoulders, dance them on your head, dance them on your tummy, and Tuck them into bed. Yay! So a little fun. We always cheer and clap in my classes as we repeat and do things together. It kind of keeps the morale up, again, for having our babies be intrigued, interested, and wanting to watch what we're presenting. This will create more opportunities for them to soak in all that you're showing them, exposing them to our languages. Now let's move into another song using signs. And this one's great. Again, dynamic quality. We're going to move our hands around and get their eyeballs on us. We're going to be signing up and down. And these two signs are nice and easy. We're just pointing up and pointing down to sign up and down. And we're going to work with the song is called Roly Poly. And we get 3 up, up, ups in a row and then down, down, down. So we're going to move our hands up again for more interest and move our hands down. So we do a roly-poly motion and we'll sing roly-poly, roly-poly, up, 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 roly, roly-poly, roly, roly-poly, down, 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 down. Let's do it again. We'll do more. Okay, here we go. Roly-poly, roly-poly, up, 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 up. Roly, roly-poly, roly, roly-poly, down, 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 down. And let's do one more time, some more. Here we go. Roly-poly, roly-poly, up, 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 up. Roly, roly-poly, roly, roly-poly, down, 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 down. Yeah, good one. Now these songs, again, are just fun and playful. And you know, Roly Poly was one that I would do in my preschool classes. And I would always do that up, 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 down, down, down. And then when I had my baby, my first one, my first baby was a girl, Ella. And I started doing that up, up, up with her every time after changing her diaper. And then we'd finish and I'd pick her up. And so we'd up, 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 and then that nice pickup. And I'd have to support her head, of course, and bring her. But it was such a nice cuddle, a really satisfying ending to what was, you know, finishing up the diaper. And up, up, up. And it started becoming a really easy pattern to put into place. And once she started realizing, oh, I know what up, up, up means. It means we're all done. We get to be picked up. I get to have a nice squeeze with mom. And so she started getting her arms ready and her neck braced when she had that control of holding up her own neck. She honestly would just start doing this as soon as I did up, 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 and she was ready to be picked up. And so I started realizing, okay, this little system that I just was doing up, up, up every time started making sense to her. And this was at, 5, 6, 7 months. And she was absolutely understanding what up, up, up meant. And then I started using it when I would pick her up off the ground. I would say up, up, up before I picked her up. And it started going into different contexts, but always the same thing, that she would go up into the high chair or down into the bathtub, down, down, down. Let's get into your car seat. Whatever the context was, we started making sense of it. Going downstairs, going upstairs. And so you can see whatever little conversations you're having around the things that you do often can make and be elevated with signs, make it so much easier for your babies to follow what's going on. And so what you need to make sure you're doing in terms of being as clear and as easy as possible when presenting signs is you want to say it out loud. Like we've mentioned, we want to say the word. We want to sign the word so then they can see it. And then we want to do whatever that word is. We're going to sign up, then we're going to pick you up. We're going to sign bath, then we're going to get in the bath, that kind of thing. So you want to say it, sign it, do it, and make it make sense. And we're already doing those pillars of exposing our babies to language, putting the context in that makes sense so that they can really realize what's going on. And then we repeat, repeat, repeat. So we're putting those together with our verbal speech. Then they get to watch and see it as well. And it just starts becoming understandable. So keep those things in mind. It doesn't have to be tricky, but if the songs help, or the little situations that you can go the up, 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 or making it playful, this is exactly how to keep it simple and keep it fun for you and your babies. Okay, let's do a couple more signs that I find are really helpful for day-to-day living with a baby. And usually the sign for milk can be a really motivating and easy sign to put into your day. So you're literally just having your hand, closing it up into a fist and opening it a couple times. You're going to hold that in front of you and sign milk, milk. And so this one is easily applied right before you're going to nurse or have a bottle. And I learned the hard way, don't sign milk, Lee Ann, before that bottle's warm, because there's so much time, that 3 minutes or whatever can be interminable for my baby. She wanted it right away. So sign that milk when it is the absolute next thing that's going to happen. You're going to sit down, you're going to start having milk, sign milk and say it out loud, and make that a little routine. Every time you have milk, they'll start recognizing both hearing the word for milk and seeing the sign for milk, and they will start knowing what's going to be happening. My daughter would literally start flapping and shivering, and her eyes would light up, and she was so excited when she knew this was happening. All I had to do was show her the sign and say milk, and she knew exactly what was next. And it was such that's the first step. You start realizing that they are understanding you. That'll be the first step in acquiring signs for your baby. And then when their hands are ready, they'll sign it back, because they naturally want to mimic what we do and what we show. And this is why signing also augments verbal speech, because again, they want to mimic the sounds that we're making, the words that we're expressing and showing to them. And it'll all become a nice little bundle that they will go at their own pace to unwrap and be able to use for themselves. So the first stage will be them watching you, and then they'll realize what the sign is. They'll comprehend what that sign means, because you're exposing it, you're showing the context, and you're repeating it. And then when their hands are ready, as you confirm and support, yes, we're having milk, milk, and showing that milk, when their hands are ready, they will start signing it back to you. So let's do a little song practicing our sign for milk. We're going to sing, "This is the way we have some milk together every day. This is the way we have some milk, have some milk, have some milk. This is the way we have some milk together every day." Okay, let's do it again. Some more, more. This is the way we have some milk, have some milk, have some milk. This is the way we have some milk together every day. Nice. Let's put in our sign for more into our song. The song is a really easy one. You can actually make it about anything that you're doing in the day. This is the way we go, up, up, or whatever. But we're going to sing about our milk and then move on to more. We'll practice asking for more, more. This is the way we ask for more, ask for more, ask for more. This is the way we ask for more together every day. So let's do both of those together. We'll have some milk and we'll ask for more. This is the way we have some milk, have some milk, have some milk. This is the way we have some milk together every day. And this is the way we ask for more, ask for more, ask for more. This is the way we ask for more together every day. Awesome. I think you're singing at home with me. I hope you're practicing. Just to let you know, I do have a printable with the lyrics to these songs, so you don't have to remember them or write them down. I can send those out to you, to all the attendees here, a little printable that you can print up with the lyrics for those songs. Okay, and let's do one more with two more signs. One more song with two more signs that I know parents are often interested in, the sign for mom and dad. And so with our open hand, the tip of our thumb is going to tap to our chin, for mother or mom or mommy. And then to the forehead for dad or daddy, father, whatever vernacular you're using for yourselves, mom and dad. So tapping at the chin or the forehead indicates which parent it is. And just a side note, the signs that I'm teaching you and that I teach in my classes are American Sign Language signs. So this is the official sign language for North America. Both Canada and the US recognize American Sign Language. So this is not a modified version of signing or ASL we're doing for babies. We're actually, I teach the signs from American Sign Language. So it is a skill that's greatly usable outside of signing with your babies as well. Okay, so let's sing and sign about our mummies and daddies. We're gonna sing, have you ever seen my mummy? Go this way and that way and this way and that. And if your babies are on your lap, then you can tilt side to side to give some motion to the song. Or if they're watching you, you can show the movement in your body. Again, some dynamic quality to add in there. So we're gonna sing, have you ever seen my mummy? Go this way and that. Have you ever seen my mommy, my mommy, my mommy? Have you ever seen my mommy? Go this way and that. We go this way and that way and this way and that way. Have you ever seen my mommy? Go this way and that. And have you ever seen my daddy, my daddy? My daddy, have you ever seen my daddy? Go this way and that. We go this way and that way and this way and that way. Have you ever seen my daddy? Go this way and that. Yay! Excellent. All right, so some easy tunes and signs that you can play with easily into your day. I think we'll see if there's any questions around the signing, and again, also with Maegan's segment around the motor skills. So do let me know if we have any questions, and then we will be doing the draw at the end. Just remember about signing to keep it fun, keep it playful, and when you're ready is a perfect time to start with your baby.
Thanks so much, Lee Ann. That was really fun.
Yay.
I can't wait to try some of them with Cohen later. I was tempted to go grab him and like sing along.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think there's been a ton of questions both in the Q&A box and through the chat. So Lee Ann, I think for you, it seems like there have been quite a few questions on when is it okay to start, and if like babies, like let's say a little bit older, if it's still okay to start then?
Yes. Okay. So absolutely, there really is no too late to start signing. So for those of you with babies that are older, closer to a year or even 2 years, signing can be such a help with augmenting verbal speech, as I kind of mentioned. And I absolutely believe that it's not too late to start, even if you feel like your babies are starting to create words and have some speech happening. You know, my daughter used to say da, da, da was one of her first sounds that she was able to say. And sometimes it was around dad, but sometimes, you know, we were at the park at the pond and we would see ducks. So she would be saying da, 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 or a dog would go by, da, da, da. And she wanted to talk about it. And if I wasn't quite sure, I would ask her to sign it or show the sign. Oh, did you mean daddy? Are you looking for daddy? And, you know, she'd kind of say no. So we would go through and be able to know come to find out what she was trying to say. And then when we hit it, it was like duck. Okay, let's talk about that duck. And then we could carry on with the conversation and really get her supported as opposed to frustrated that she couldn't get across what she wanted to tell us. And so adding signs in is a great opportunity at every age. So please don't feel like your babies are too late to learn. And for those that are younger, if you're wondering, is it a good time yet? Is it too early? Are they going to be able to pick up anything? Honestly, our babies soak up everything we show them. They will pick up what they can. and it'll layer in as you progress and as they get older. But mostly what I like to remind parents is the earlier you start, the more you get to practice and get really good at remembering. Because the only tricky thing about signing for most parents is just remembering to put those signs into place. Oh, we had milk and I forgot to do the milk, and if you practice and start earlier, you'll miss that milk once, but then in a few hours or maybe a few minutes, you'll be doing milk again. You can just keep reminding yourself. So the earlier that you feel ready to start signing is absolutely great for your babies. Statistically or research wise, they say babies around 5, 6, 7 months start having recall, where they'll remember the little things that you're presenting, the faces that they know, and that kind of thing. So 5, 6, 7 months is a great time to start research wise. But as a parent, I love that we started with my son, who was my second. We started really early with him, right in the hospital. His bigger sister said, "Oh, Ian, you're having milk with mommy," as he sat on my tummy or on my chest and was nursing when she met him. So we started signing milk from day one with him, and we just got that rolling again with the process of remembering to do our signs. So yeah, it's never too early, it's never too late, in my opinion, and there's so much benefit for everyone involved at every age.
That's great. Thanks, Leanne. And then let me just see. Yeah, so there were also concerns about remembering songs, but you will be sending that out to everybody. So
Yes,
we don't have to worry about memorizing all the songs that we went through today. And then there was two other questions that I caught my eye. One is signing different in the UK? Because you mentioned that this is ASL.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a different sign language in the UK. Even looking at English-speaking countries, you would think, well, why aren't they all the same? Australia, England, etc. But really, language comes about because people sprout up in communities and start creating language hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So signing is no different. In the UK, they use what's called British Sign Language. There are some overlap signs in there, but if you are living in the UK, I have a fabulous resource for a sign language instructor that is online, and she does incredible classes. So I guess if you want to put in the chat, if you're from the UK and you'd like that resource, you can write that in the chat and I can get back to you to send that out.
Okay, perfect. And then the last one that I'll send your way is if there's a difference in signing with your right hand versus left hand.
Good question. Yes. Typically in sign language, people would have a dominant hand. They would be called a dominant hand, and the non-dominant hand. And for signs that there is one hand doing one thing and the other doing another, you would use one dominant hand. But saying all that, I find as a parent, the rules can kind of go out the window, because guess what? You might be holding a baby in this hand one day and wanting to sign that milk, or vice versa. You've got, so don't worry about what hand you're using. You can switch it up to do your milk with your right hand or with your left hand, back and forth. As long as your hands look similar, your babies won't get confused by what hand you're using. And then as you progress into signing, if you're more interested in following more of the syntax and grammar and rules around American Sign Language, then that's easily put into play with your older babies. Sometimes I would tell, my daughter, when she got to be 2.5 and 3, some of her signs look different than what I was signing to her. And I would explain that, in American Sign Language, when they use this with the deaf community, they're signed like this, a little bit different than our family's been using. So you can always go look at that down the road. But when you're signing with your babies, it's important not to get flustered or worried or too confused. Just use whatever hand feels natural and go with it. And if it needs to switch side to side, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to try and tackle some of the questions that came specifically for physio. There were a ton. So there was a few trends that I noticed. So I'm going to try and just speak more generally and hopefully answer more of your questions. I don't know, some of you that are on here attended my webinar last month that was specifically on motor milestones. If you didn't, some of these questions that are coming up, I went through in more detail in that webinar. So feel free to write in the chat, maybe send a message directly to Missy if you want access to the motor milestones webinar, and we'll be happy to send you the link. Okay, so a common question that seemed to come up was if baby is like liking to stand, or they like to stand, is it okay? Or like, how can they help get baby into this position? And my kind of thought process around this is that, especially for standing, is that if baby can get to standing on their own and pull up on the couch or on the coffee table or a toy, then that's great. Then their body is ready to do it. But if you're having to pick them up and put them into standing, I would avoid doing that too much, just because they probably don't have the core stability yet and leg strength to be in it. So I like to kind of follow baby's developmental cues and let them do it when they're ready. There were also a couple questions about babies who are using like the push walkers, and those push walkers are great, but like I said in my portion of the talk, was that if you don't have one, there's other things that you can use at home. So don't feel the need to rush out and buy one. Like, you can use a laundry basket. If you have an activity cube at home, those will slide if you have like hardwood or laminate floors, so you could have them push that. But if baby is upright and standing and pushing toys along, then they're really close to being able to walk. And I wouldn't feel the need to hold their hands and help them walk. I would wait till they kind of get there on their own. And one big indicator of when a baby is close to being able to walk is when they can stand up from the floor without holding on to anybody or anything. So sitting on the floor, getting into that deep squat position, and then standing up on their own shows that they have the balance and the control to be close to walking. And so I would just continue letting them cruise, letting them push whatever push toys you guys have at home, and as they do these things, they're working on those muscles and stability that they need in order to get to walking. So for rolling, there were a few questions on like how to help either roll from tummy to back or the other way. I would say that one thing that I have found really helpful is that when you are doing floor time, and if you want to get into tummy time, rather than just picking baby up and putting them on their tummy, help them roll over. So bring one leg across their body and actually get them to do the motion. And this may even be before they're at that stage where they will be able to roll on their own, but it just shows them that there's a way to get there on their own, and that mom doesn't have to come pick them up and flip them over to get there. And this goes the same for going the reverse direction, so tummy to back. When you're done with tummy time, when baby's had enough, I would help them roll onto their back rather than just picking them up and tummy times over. So one way to do this is just make sure that their arms are tucked under their chest, just because if their arms are like this, they won't actually be able to roll out of tummy time. So arms tucked in, and then you bring one leg up, like knee towards their tummy, and that will kind of force that rotation. And then they probably will help you, or you can use their leg to kind of push them over onto their back. But as much as you can, try to help them go in between these positions so that they can learn that they can transition on their own. And then there was a question about their baby is pivoting, and how to encourage getting into 4-point. And so 4-point is a really physically challenging position because it takes a lot of hip strength, arm, and core to be able to get there. And so by army crawling, like your baby's working on all of these different areas, what you can do to kind of progress towards getting into 4-point is you can put like just little obstacles on the floor for them to go up and over. So you can put your leg out and they have to figure out how to get over your leg. So that will kind of force them to get their tummies off of the floor a little bit and up onto their knees. So they may not be able to fully push up onto their hands and knees, but it gets them figuring out that they can push up a little bit. And so it could be your leg, you could roll up a blanket and have them go up and over that. So just changing the environment a little, and that's kind of like changing with the heights again. So if they're on the floor, then adding a little something to get obstacle for them to get up and over. So now we've hit 12 o'clock. I think we've touched upon quite a few of the questions. Please let Missy know if you want access to the Motor Milestone webinar, and we will for sure send that to you. And if you have other questions, you can always feel free to email me and I will get back to you. I'll also use some of these questions and answer them in blog posts and on social media. So follow us at PlayWorks Physio, and maybe if your question wasn't fully answered here, then hopefully I can answer it that way as well. And like I mentioned earlier, we can see people virtually. So if you wanted to do a motor milestone check-in and just get a better idea of where baby's at and what you can be doing at home, then feel free to reach out and we can arrange that. And Lee Ann, what is your social media handle so that people can follow you as well?
Right, you can find me on Instagram at Signing Babies. So all one word, Signing Babies. And on Facebook, I am on Signing Babies Vancouver. You can find all of the links to everything about me and right on my website, which is signingbabies.ca. signingbabies.ca, and you'll be able to see everything on there pretty clearly. And I also send out weekly emails to those on my mailing list, and so I'll be adding all of you onto my mailing list, which you can, of course, unsubscribe anytime, but I do a weekly email with a sign of the week and tips on signing. And I also have a great Facebook group, if you're on Facebook, that we do a free parent group, just encouraging signs, doing singing and signing and songs like we have here once a week together. So I hope you'll come find me again.
Okay, so thanks, Lee Ann. Definitely sign up on her Facebook page. I love it. And I love the weekly emails to learn new sides.
Thank you.
So we've been keeping track of everyone who's commented in either the question box or the chat, and I have your names listed on this wheel. So the first one will spin. Lee Ann, what is your prize that you're giving away today?
So my prize is a free spot in my virtual class, my beginner baby sign language course, which is a complete introduction to signing. It's a 6-part class, so we do 6 sessions over 6 weeks together, and we sing and we sign. And so this is typically a $75 course that you can join with me watching virtually and connecting on Facebook. We hold the classes. And so the giveaway is for a spot in this course that you can join right away. I've got one going right now that you can jump into with me, or one in the future if you're not feeling quite ready, but we'll get you into a class with me virtually.
Perfect. Okay, here we go. I'm going to spin the wheel. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let's see who's the winner.
It's spinning slowly, but
okay.
All right.
You can just type into the chat if you're here, and then Lee Ann will contact you with how to get into that class. So I'm going to spin one more time, and PlayWorks Physio is going to be giving away a free motor milestone assessment. This is a 1-hour virtual appointment with one of our physiotherapists just to check in and see, get some new ideas for baby. And the winner is Rachel. Awesome. Okay, so we will reach out to the two winners. And yeah, so thank you everyone so much for joining in with us today. We will share the link to this recording once we're done here. And so you can always look back. I know we had to go through some stuff pretty quickly. And also feel free to contact us by email if you have any questions that weren't fully addressed. And so we will keep you posted if there are other webinars coming up that we think you guys would be interested in. And but that's all for today. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a
Thanks,
great day,
everybody.
everyone.
Yeah, keep singing and signing.
Okay, thank you, Lee Ann. That was
Thanks so much,
great.
Megan. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. I am going to close this. Bye, everyone.